Hi everyone, in this video we're going to be going over Cisco Packet Tracer 9.2.1.10 called Configuring Standard ACLs. And to begin, we'll open up the Packet Tracer activity. I'm going to go ahead and just do a reset on this to make sure everything's cleared out, so it's exactly the way you'll see it when you open it. I'm going to go ahead and keep the addressing table up over here to the left just in case we need it. And we'll go ahead and get started. So we have a series of networks here, all kind of interlinked. And we have a few policies. It looks like there's already two policies in place. Network policy for router 2 up here. The 192.168.11.0/24 network is not allowed to access the web server. On this network, 192.168.20.0. All other access is permitted. We want to restrict access from the 192.168.11.0. So from this segment right here, we want to restrict access from this network to the web server without interfering with other traffic. So we'll have to create another ACL on R2. The access must be placed on the outbound interface to the web server, and a second rule must be created to permit all other traffic. And then we have the following policies set up on R3. The 192.168.10.0 network is not allowed to communicate with the .30.0 network. All other access is permitted, and so we're going to restrict access It says from the same network. I think it actually means from this network, the 192.168.11. And so we'll be doing that on router 3. Alright, so we're going to start with router 2. We're going to configure and apply a numbered standard ACL. So let's go ahead and jump into the command line interface. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. For us to get started, we'll want to get into the global configuration mode. And we're going to go ahead and create the access list. Access list 1. We're just going to tell it to deny this network with the wildcard mask 000255. I think of that as an inverted subnet mask from that network. So it was a /24, which is 255.255.255.0. Basically, if you invert that, you get the wildcard subnet mask, or the wildcard mask here. And by default, this will deny everything from that network. Another thing about the access list is it will deny all traffic that does not match a rule. So to permit other traffic, we have to tell it to permit other traffic. With the access list 1, permit any. So anything from this network will be rejected, but anything that's not in this network will be permitted. Then we need to configure the interface, the gigabit Ethernet 0/0. We need to set that up to use the access list that we just created going outbound. So that means that traffic coming out of this interface on router 2, so anything that comes from here is going to make it all the way up here, and before router 2 will send it out of that interface, it'll check it against this list. Alright, so that takes care of the first portion, setting up that ACL on router 2. Our next step is to create an ACL on router 3. So we're going to jump into the command line interface here. And get up to the global configuration mode. Go ahead and create another access list. set to deny the 192.168.10.0.0.0.0.255. So that way we're telling it to block all traffic from this network. And like I said before, it'll automatically deny anything that doesn't match a rule, so we want to set a rule that allows all other traffic. So on the same access list, we want to not allow, but permit any. And then jump over to the Gigabit Ethernet 0.0 interface and tell it to use that access list on any traffic coming out of that interface. So any traffic coming out this direction. Let me see if it'll let me. There it is, the Gigabit 0.0 interface. So traffic will come from this network, come across R1 into R3. R3 will then check it against that access list that we just created before sending it out that interface. So that's why we use the keyword out instead of in. Alright, so then on routers 2 and 3, we want to do a show access list command. So we come back and do show access lists. And there we have our denied network, and everything else will be permitted based off of this list. I'm going to go ahead and give a show run, and we want to come down to the Gigabit Ethernet 0.0, and we can see that we have that access list or access group, as it calls it for the interfaces. That access group 1 is applied to that interface. So we want to verify the same thing on router 3. Show access lists. And so there's our list with our denied network and permitting everything else. So we want to do a show run. We'll just quickly run down here to the G00. We see it actually has a description on this one. On R2 it didn't have a description. But there is our access list being applied to this interface. Alright, and then to verify, we want to do a ping from 192.168.10.10, which is PC1, over to PC2. So we're going to ping from here over to here, and it should work. After it builds the routing tables. So there we have success. From PC1 over to 192.168.20.254, the web server. Do a first one, and then we'll come back and do a second. And that should be successful. And then we have a ping from PC2 over to the web server. And that should fail. I'll do it again just to make sure. Yep, so we still have a failure there, and that's right. And then a ping from PC1 to PC3 should also fail. Do it a second time to verify. It's still failing. A ping from PC2 over to PC3 should succeed. Let it build the routing table records, and the second time we have success. And then a ping from PC3 to the web server should also be successful. And that one worked the first time, because it looks like all of our routing tables have been created. Okay, so that's all the checks from the bottom of the instructions. And we do see that we have 100% completion. We can go double check that in here, make sure everything's configured correctly. I don't think it set up any connectivity tests. So all in all, about 10 minutes just to get everything set up and verified. Looks like that takes care of everything for this activity. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and I'll see you in my next video.